friends, my name is Blake Shook and I've been keeping bees for almost 20 years now, and I've gone in that time from 2 hives in my backyard to over 30,000 hives. And my goal, as always in these videos, is to break down all the lessons I've learned along the way into practical tidbits that are helpful for you as a small-scale beekeeper. Let's talk a little bit about water sources. If you're in an area where it's hot and it's dry, your bees need water throughout the summer. Now, they don't drink water and they don't need the moisture for themselves, but they use it to keep the hive cool. And so they need to fly to a water source, store the water in their stomach, fly back to the hive, and then they'll spit out the water and fan their wings to help evaporatively cool the hive. Now, this is pretty important, and especially if your hives are in the sunlight instead of in the shade, which is fine. You know, hives should be in the full sun rather than in full shade. Afternoon shade is fine in the summertime. But regardless, the bees do need a water source, and a strong hive can drink 1 to 2 quarts of water a day to keep the hive cool. So if there's not a natural pond or a creek or a lake within a half to 1 mile of your hives, it's a good idea to provide that. And if you're in an urban environment, it's good to provide a water source so that your bees aren't bothering your neighbor's swimming pool. So a water source can be anything. It can be any container of water. The key things to remember is it should be in the shade. It doesn't have to be deep shade, but at least partial to full shade, because if that water gets really hot, the bees aren't going to want to drink it. The water doesn't need to be clean. In fact, dirtier water is a little better sometimes. The bees don't like really clean water. And so don't worry about cleaning the container or keeping the moss out of it. The bees don't mind. And then the third most important thing is that there's something for the bees to land on so that they don't drown. That could be floating pieces of wood, it could be gravel, it can be anything. It can be, a lot of people get the noodles that you have in the swimming pool and slice those up and put a bunch into the water source. Anything that the bees can land on and get a drink of water. Some people put a little bit of chlorine in the water because bees actually like chlorine. It's one of the reasons they're attracted to swimming pools. But let's go take a look at some bees drinking out of a pond nearby. And then as I'm walking over there, I'll also show you a little bit of footage from a water that we have at one of our bee supply stores to water our bees at that bee yard. So this pond is about 100 yards from where our bee yard is here, and the bees just love it. I mean, of course, the water isn't clean, but there is water here year-round. And I mean, any time of day, once it starts getting warm out here, you can come out and just see the bees. You know, they're all over the moss at the edge of the pond, drinking that water, bringing it back to the hives. And of course, this is absolutely perfect for the bees. And so if you have a pond like this, really within a half a mile or so, then you're going to be fine. The bees are going to fly to that, get water, no problem. But if you're, if you don't have anything, within a mile or so, then you want to provide that water source, or if you're in an urban area. And, it's certainly if you're in a drought and all the ponds start to dry up, which happens a lot in the south, then you want to provide that water source as well. So if this is helpful, then like and subscribe, and look forward to seeing you next time.